I'll intro and then you can take it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Hi everyone. So we're back again with another session. This time we have Harsh with us, and he's the co-founder of EPNS.io, which means Ethereum Push Notification Services. They're doing some great work around Ethereum. Yeah, over to you, Harsh. Please take it forward.
Awesome. Thanks, Anupam. It's great to be here. Hi, guys. I'm Harsh. Uh, let's just dive in. Uh, so, Anupam, you guys can see my screen, right? Uh, okay, assuming that everyone is able to see the screen. Hey, everyone. Very, very excited to be here. We are Ethereum Push Notification Service, EPNS for short. My name is Harsh. I'm the founder and project lead for this. What we are doing is we are making notification decentralized. So that's the invention which we are bringing to the platform. And the innovation is that not only you as users, and by users, I mean wallet addresses, because in blockchain, every user is a anonymous wallet address. But yeah, the innovation which we are doing is we are making these notifications incentivized, which means you as a user earn from these as well. So yeah, that's about our product EPNS for short. But we are not here to talk about our product per se. We are here to look into game theory and DeFi, two of the most interesting topics around. So yeah, let's dive into game theory. So yeah, you might have heard about the notion of game theory, or zero sum game, or some extremely complicated mathematical construct of game theory. But in essence, game theory is actually quite simple. And not only that, it doesn't only is used in blockchain. It's used in your everyday life, whether you realize it or not. And that's what we are going to talk about. So, simply put, game theory is just the process of modeling interactions between two or more players of a game. The game can be anything. It can be when you're doing a job in a company. It can be when you are tweeting. Of course, it is when you're playing Carrom or Ludo. But yeah, the game theory basically means, or in this instance, the game theory basically means having a strategic interaction between two or more players of the ecosystem, in which the results are incentivized to promote good behavior. And there is at least one result that ensures that everybody is a winner. So there's a win-win scenario for everyone. So how do you do that? Well, very simple, three simple points which you have to keep in mind. The first is incentivizing good behavior. Second is penalizing bad actors. And third, as we discussed earlier, is creating a win-win scenario. Just going to touch on them just a bit and try to relate it with few examples. So incentivizing good behavior. That's again something which happens more than you guys will observe, or if you guys start to observe, you will notice that this is something which is there in everyday life. So let's take the example of a company. If you are an employee in the company, how does the company incentivize good behavior? Well, money is of course a great motivator, and that's exactly what the company does. But that's not the only incentive which you can get. So in this case, in a company, if you do your job well, the or incentivizations which you are getting is, of course, good salary or an increase in salary and a promotion. So we saw over here that not only money acts like a incentivization, you can also do incentivization through other means. So that's just the traditional job. Let's take it up a bit. Let's talk about Twitter. So how does Twitter incentivize good behavior? Well, in Twitter, the game you're playing is that you want your voice heard to as many people as you can. And what Twitter wants is basically good content. So if you create good content, viral-worthy content, Twitter ensures that more and more people see it and react to it, which means that your voice reaches to a lot of other users who it wouldn't have if the content wasn't good enough. So that's how Twitter incentivizes you, and you usually don't really know about it, but yeah, hopefully now you do. Uh, Penalizing bad actors. Again, with the company side, the penalization occurs because if the employee isn't performing well, they get demoted. They might get fired, or they might get their salary reduced. So that's the penalization part. In Twitter, again, the same thing. If your tweet is not really great content, or if Twitter doesn't like it, Twitter will not show it to other users. If the tweet is obscene, Twitter will remove it. If you keep on doing this bad behavior, or there's a pattern, Twitter will try to silence your voice for some times, or might even ban you. So again, there's a penalty involved for actions which the game doesn't want you to really play or act on. And the one or more win-win scenario. So in the case of the company, the company wants to grow. If you perform well, the company grows well. You grow with the company, and you have a very awesome company culture. So that's a great way of seeing how game theory works. Again, in Twitter, Twitter wants to grow. That means they want more users. That means they want great content. You are their content writer, and you want your voice heard. So if you are following their rules, then of course your voice will be heard. You will gain more followers, and Twitter will, of course, gain more users on their platform and become more valuable. So that's, in essence, is how you design the game theory. Some of the examples. So real world example. This example, we are talking about World War One. This is a photo of a battle between Germany and Britain. Those were two opposite sides fighting each other. And something really, really miraculous happened on Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve, everyone, the enemies basically, they decided that they will gather and celebrate Christmas. They will exchange gifts, despite having orders from above to not to mingle with the enemy. So let's look at the three things we discussed. What was the incentive? The incentive was extremely simple. Uh, if every player really, if every player followed the rules, then it meant that they will be able to celebrate Christmas Eve without any fear, without watching for the enemy. So yeah, you had incentivization or an incentive over here. The penalty part, if the players didn't agree on it, then it meant that they have to spend the night in their coal bunker, watching for enemies. Not really a very promising alternative, if you ask me. And the win-win scenario, of course, because the incentive was for both the players. So you had a win-win scenario over here. The result, of course, the game theory worked, and that's the picture you are seeing. Taking it to the digital world and Bitcoin. So sometimes people really get confused, especially when we are talking about India and they have very conservative views, like why blockchain and why cryptocurrency are the part of two coins. But if you look at it from the game theory perspective, you can actually understand it. Let's really, really simplify Bitcoin over here. So in essence, Bitcoin is a software. Bitcoin requires that software to be run on various users' computer. Unless a lot of users are running Bitcoin, the Bitcoin ledger, which is created, which creates magic internet money, that cannot operate in a secure and immutable fashion. So for Bitcoin, the incentive is that a lot of users need to run their software on their computer. Now, this software will be using users' computational power, bandwidth, and space. So think about it, you inviting anonymous person to live in your house. You usually charge them rent. That's a game theory over there. But what's the incentive for you as a user to run this software when the software demands all these things from you, but is not getting you or giving you anything back? People who, by the way, run Bitcoin software, they are called miners. Uh, and that is where the clever trick, which is done by Bitcoin and most of the blockchain, comes into effect, which is that Bitcoin says, you run our software, and in reward of it, because you're running our software and helping us to make the network more secure and having more peer-to-peer, we will reward you with Bitcoin. So now you have incentive for miners as well. Bitcoin incentive, it's already covered if more and more people run the software. For miners, you now have the incentive that if they are running the software, they have the chance to earn Bitcoin. And as and when the value of the Bitcoin goes up, the investment also works. And that is the game theory and two flip sides of cryptocurrency and blockchain, which we need to understand. I have to touch about the penalty part over here because it's so clever. Basic thing what Bitcoin does is and Satoshi Nakamoto, the pseudonym who created Bitcoin, created this. Was the penalty part or the dynamic mining difficulty adjustment, which basically meant that as more and more miners run this Bitcoin software, and as more and more computation power is available to Bitcoin, the mining or the way to solve these problems, the cryptographic problems, will become increasingly difficult. The idea behind it was that when Bitcoin was first launched, of course, if the dynamic mining difficulty wasn't there and the mining difficulty was very high from the start, no one would be buying supercomputers or GPUs. Sorry, I should have said GPUs and SKI enabled systems. So no one would have been actually investing in those to mine Bitcoin. Uh, so because of that, the mining difficulty needed to be very easy in the beginning, because then that meant that you can run the software on your laptop as well. But yeah, the vision was that as more and more peer-to-peer people get involved and this becomes like the cryptocurrency of the future, then we need to make sure that no hacker can come in and just buy or rent out a supercomputer and take over the entire network, because in the end, everything is computational power. And that is where the mining difficulty or the dynamic mining difficulty comes in. Of course, Bitcoin is working. You can see it to be the number one cryptocurrency in the world. So yeah, the game theory worked. Awesome. So let's kick things up a notch. Let's talk about decentralized finance now, DeFi. So in essence, what is DeFi? It's basically all the banking things or all the banking functionalities like lending, borrowing, interest on blockchain. Or you can say that any digital asset or a smart contract that can enable these things, which a traditional bank does, and more, is DeFi. So, simply put, DeFi is finance built on blockchain. About DeFi, I would really like to take a moment over here to explain the concept of money so that we know about DeFi. Again, it is because a lot of people ask why DeFi when we have so many other means of money. And to understand about DeFi and why DeFi, we need to understand about paper money. So going back, even the current iteration of paper money we have, it's not the paper money which was invented. I'm sure most of you will be aware that paper money was used to be backed by gold reserves. Before that, paper money probably didn't exist. Probably gold coins did. And if you realize that and if you follow this history, then you will see that money is as old as history itself, and it has kept on evolving. I would really limit myself to say it has kept on changing, because in reality, uh, it hasn't changed that much as it has evolved. So yeah, paper money, the current iteration. Right now, if you want to use the paper money, the best use case is, of course, you want a service from a service provider. You take your paper money, you go over there, you give them that money, and in return, they give you the service. This is a very legit case. But yeah, this was really cool back in 1980s or 1990s. But then the next innovation of money happened, and that was plastic money. I'm talking about credit cards. So, did credit cards replace money? No. Uh, did credit cards or are credit cards the exact thing as what the value paper money provides? Actually, no. Credit cards bought a new system. So before that, you had to had uh, the exact amount of paper money a service provider would want to buy his service. But along came credit cards and they changed that notion. They said that, hey, you take the credit card, you take it to the service provider. Even if you don't have money, we as a bank, we will lend it out to you. And in return, you have to pay us in the future with a small fee, and you can get the service right now. That was the first innovation. The second innovation actually came with online payments. Can you do online payments with paper money? You cannot. Imagine if a credit card didn't exist and Netflix had an office in every city and everyone had to go with paper money and pay for subscription. I don't think that would have turned out well. So yeah, in essence, if you see, credit card was an innovation over money. It brought in new features, which was not possible with paper money. And now let's talk about DeFi. So now DeFi is the innovation over credit cards. It enables things that are not possible by paper money or credit cards. Uh, let's look at the example. So if you are aware of flash loan, it's a beautiful thing to actually understand. It's quite complex, but I am going to simplify it over here. So simply put, it's a zero collateral loan which you can take through the use of the smart contracts and blockchain. The zero collateral loan means that you can take thousands of dollars as loan, and without having to leverage your property or any collateral. And it is because of the way it works. And this is something which was never possible in traditional world. So for example, you have to write a function in which you take this money or you borrow this money like $100,000. And then in this function, you can play around with this money. You can arbitrage it or do whatever you want to do. And before the closing of this function, you have to return this money back to the lender uh, along with some sort of fees. If you're able to do that, that's great. You will have successfully executed the flash loan. And because of the way blockchain is built, if you're not able to do that, then the entire blockchain transaction will fail. So the lender would have never given his money out to you, and therefore, everyone is safe, everyone wins, or the entire state and the transaction remains the same. Again, something which will never be possible with the physical assets. So that is what DeFi is. DeFi actually enables financial transactions on blockchain. It cannot be done with paper money. It cannot be done with credit cards. And in essence, if you have to look a bit more into DeFi, you can think about it as a set of APIs or money Legos, which you can put to create your own invention or innovation, which is what EPNS actually did. Anupam, I think we are running out of time. So let me know if I have to wrap the presentation up.
You can go ahead, Harsh. I'll give you for 3-4 minutes if that's okay.
Awesome. Thanks. So yeah, EPNS and why we explained about game theory and DeFi. So when you think about notifications, as I said, everyone is receiving notifications when it comes to traditional system. You have payments, you get notifications. You get email, you get notifications. You have this calendar invite or this air meet was a notification for you. And the biggest surprise is it doesn't exist on the blockchain ecosystem and Web3. Well, it didn't exist before we came in. So yeah, that was the problem which really needed to be solved, because right now the blockchain ecosystem, they expect users to come to them, and when you compare it with the Web2 or traditional services, the services come to you. Especially when we are talking about finance and DeFi, it becomes very imperative that the users are not expected to come back to a website or a smart contract to see the state of their interaction, which brings us to the solution. So yeah, and the invention which we did, which is EPNS. So in essence, we created a DeFi protocol, decentralized DeFi protocol that can send notifications to users. And by users, I mean wallet addresses. Not only that, this was the invention. The innovation which we did was that we made it so abstract that these notifications are delivered to almost all the centralized and decentralized carriers. So that means it doesn't now really is attached to just your iOS phone or Android. You can send notification out, and this notification will make your way to your mobile phone, your tablet, your Firefox or Chrome browser, your Telegram, or any other centralized or decentralized service which you can imagine. And the coolest invention or the innovation we did was we made notifications incentivized, power back to the people. So you as a user, when you receive notifications, you also earn from them. And that is where the DeFi and the game theory aspect fits in. Uh, so yeah, I'm going to just skip this through lack of time. I am also going to skip this. We wanted to show you a demo, but I think we are out of time. Uh, uh, but yeah, the game theory part, because that is what we have to talk about. So why and how did we fit the DeFi and the game theory in EPNS? Well, we took three concepts of DeFi, which was the staking, lending, and interest generation, and we put it on in our protocol, and we segregated it. So the staking is depositing of crypto, which is done by services in our protocol. This is done to enable that the service is sending notifications and they're serious about sending notifications. Again, following the three rules of game theory. Now, this stake, we then lend it out because, again, DeFi modules are a set of money Legos which we can put in our own innovative way. So this is staking, which is done by service. This crypto, we then lend it out to blockchain, which then starts generating interest. Now, this interest, when you as a user receive notifications from these services, and of course you opt in to receive notifications, only then you receive notifications from these services. But this interest comes to you when along with notifications. So yeah, that is exactly how EPNS fits in the DeFi and the game theory part. Uh, we actually have been extremely grateful and lucky to have come so long, a long way in so little time. Of course, we are getting guided and mentored by Ethereum Foundation. We just won a grant from Matic, awesome layer 2 technology. And just a couple of days back, we were announced as top 20 people or top 20 project in Gitcoin Accelerator, which is like one of the most reputed Web3 platform for accelerators and for grants and for almost anything else in the Web3 ecosystem. Uh, so yeah, this presentation, game theory, I just have to say thanks to Vivek, Andy, and Sachin. They were our Gitcoin mentors, and some or most part of this presentation is inspired by their speech. In the end, I do have an example over here, which actually explains the game theory, and you play along. You play as a character and see how your choices basically ensures whether the entire game which you are designing wins or loses. So I would recommend everyone to go ahead and try out this URL. It's an amazing game. It will be the best 30 minutes you will ever spend understanding game theory. Question and answer. So I know we have AirMeet, so we have a questions tab on the side. If you have any questions, maybe now is the time to put it in. I will go ahead and answer them. Of course, you can follow us on EPNS Project on Telegram or EPNS Project on Twitter. Telegram is actually if you want to hang out and ask questions, we would recommend Telegram. If you just want to follow our progress, well, APNS Project on Twitter is the way to go. We of course have a white paper out. You can find it on whitepaper.epns.io, and we are always available to just chill and talk and hang out. So you can write us at founders@epns.io. Thank you so much for the time. We really loved sharing our experience with you. I'm just going to go into the questions to see if we have something. Need that website for game example. Sure, Javad. Richa, can you also paste the link for the website? Or maybe I can do that. So,
thank you, Harsh. It was a great session, man.
Thanks, Anupam. Had great fun.
Yeah. There's one thing I would love to ask you is because you touched on DeFi and other speakers before you also touched on DeFi because it's trending, of course. Blockchain.com is offering 12% interest rates. So I just want to understand from you how realistic is that, because traditional banks are stuck at 6% and they are not going 7 or 8, they're going 12%. How is that even possible?
Yeah, so Anupam, it's actually one of the beauty of early technologies. I mean, the rate will probably stabilize in the future, like 2 to 4 years down the line. But at this point, there's so many innovations happening in this space, and you have so much opportunity to use that money, use that crypto which you are lending out to probably do a flash loan, to probably do a arbitrage, or anything else. Everything is basically in blockchain. It's cryptographic and it's supply and demand. Right now, you have so many new services and innovative services coming in that people are willing to, borrow these crypto at that rate. It will not be something which will be possible in the future as we get more and more matured. But that's like 4 years down the line when Web3 has taken over Web2. So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Harsh. Thanks a lot for the session.
Thank you. My pleasure, Anupam. And yep. See you around.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.